Don't stay there. We'll slow him up in midair just to give you an extra look. Over the high Ferris wheel he goes, right through space without wings.
That's Hugo Zacchini. You might be wondering who he is, how he got there, and what this has to do with a Supreme Court case. Well, wonder no further. Welcome to Zacchini versus Scripps Howard Broadcasting.
Performer Hugo Zacchini was shot out of a cannon into a net that was located 200 feet away in a human cannonball act. A reporter from Scripps Howard Broadcasting Company recorded Zacchini's performance without his consent, and the footage was later shown on Scripps Howard's news program. Zacchini sued the broadcasting company on the grounds of unlawful appropriation of his professional property.
This case starts out in the small town of Burton, Ohio, where the trial court who had original jurisdiction and where the case was first tried granted the defendant, the Scripps Howard Broadcasting Company, summary judgment ruling in their favor. Next, they move on to Cleveland, where the Ohio State Court of Appeals reversed this decision. The court said in order for Scripps Howard Broadcasting to televise Zacchini's entire act, they would have to compensate the performer. This decision was also appealed, and they moved to the Ohio State Supreme Court in Columbus. There, the court heard the case and reversed the judgment of the Court of Appeals in favor of Scripps Howard. They held that the broadcasting company was constitutionally privileged in airing Zacchini's performance. Once again, and for a final time, the decision was appealed, and the case moved to the United States Supreme Court.
The question of law for this case is whether or not the First and 14th Amendments shield the Scripps Howard Broadcasting Company from any damages for broadcasting the entirety of Zacchini's performance without his consent or any form of compensation, allegedly infringing on his right of publicity and common law copyright.
In a 5-4 opinion, the court decided that Scripps Howard's right to free speech did not hold since Zacchini did not approve of the broadcasting of his entire performance. Zacchini was looking for ownership rights similar to a copyright. Since the broadcast was considered a threat to Zacchini's economic gain, the court emphasized that it was not just reporting. Justice White wrote, "Wherever the line in particular situations is to be drawn between media reports that are protected and those that are not, we are quite sure that the First and 14th Amendment do not immunize the media when they broadcast a performer's entire act without his consent."
This decision was made based on the justices' interpretation of the Constitution. Though the court could have decided that the rights of the media were protected for the purposes of news gathering, the First and 14th Amendment does not require them to see it this way. This court case recognized that allowing for the filming of an act free of charge would take money away from the performer, because people are less willing to pay for an act they can otherwise see for free. The First and 14th Amendment does not protect the media from filming a performer's entire act without compensating him for his work. The court can constitutionally require this in the same way they have made unconstitutional the filming and distribution of copyrighted material without permission or compensation to the owner.
Zacchini versus Scripps Howard Broadcasting Company is the first time the Supreme Court heard a case on rights of publicity. This case involves a delicate balancing process between the media's right to inform the public about newsworthy people and the celebrities' right to profit from their labor. Restriction on freedom of expression has occurred and may continue to do so as we see it nowadays. Therefore, developing and applying guidelines based on copyright's fair use doctrine is the best way to deal with this issue.